The question came on a Thursday night, the kind of night when the wind slipped through the cracked kitchen window and made the curtains sway like tired sighs. "Mommy," Lily whispered, her small fingers tracing circles on the worn wooden table, "do you think God forgot us?" The word slipped out of her mouth the way it always did when she was nervous. Mommy. She hadn't said Dad in years, not since her mother passed away when she was 3. She barely remembered her face, only the smell of vanilla and the sound of humming. But the title had stuck, tangled with grief and habit. Daniel froze at the stove. The pasta water was boiling over, but he didn't notice. The only thing he heard was the tremble in his daughter's voice. He turned slowly. Lily sat in her too big sweater, knees tucked to her chest on the chair. The electricity bill lay open on the table beside her, though she couldn't read it yet. She didn't need to. Children could feel the heaviness in a house long before they understood it. Daniel turned off the stove and walked over. He crouched in front of her, brushing a strand of brown hair from her face. "Why would you ask that?" he said softly. She looked toward the fridge. It was almost empty, half a carton of milk, a jar of pickles, and a single apple. "You pray every night," she said. "You say God will help us, but you still look sad, and Mrs. Harper said some people just get forgotten." Daniel swallowed. Mrs. Harper was their landlord. Rent was 2 months late. The construction company Daniel worked for had shut down after a sudden lawsuit. No warning, no severance, just a locked gate and a posted notice. He'd been picking up odd jobs, fixing fences, mowing lawns, repairing broken sinks, but nothing steady, nothing enough. He wanted to tell Lily everything would be fine, that miracles were coming, that angels were lining up outside their door. But he had promised himself something after his wife died. He would never lie to his daughter. Instead of answering with words, Daniel stood up and pulled on his worn jacket. "Put your shoes on," he said. She blinked. "Where are we going?" "You'll see." It was nearly dark, and the sky stretched wide and purple above them. Daniel held Lily's hand as they walked 3 blocks to the small church on the corner. It wasn't grand or famous, just a simple brick building with chipped paint and a wooden cross above the door. Inside, the lights were dim. A few candles flickered near the altar. They sat in the last pew. Daniel didn't kneel immediately. He didn't bow his head. He just looked up. "Lily," he said quietly, "sometimes when things feel quiet, it doesn't mean God forgot us. Sometimes it means He's waiting for us to move." She looked confused. "Move where?" Daniel stood. He walked to the front of the church where a small bulletin board hung beside the office door. Flyers were pinned there, lost pets, bake sales, job postings. His eyes scanned the papers until one caught his attention. Community outreach, volunteers needed. Food distribution this Saturday, set-up crew required. It wasn't a paid job, but it was something. He tore off one of the contact tabs at the bottom. Then he turned to Lily and held up the paper. "God didn't forget us," he said. "We're just not done yet." Saturday morning arrived cold and gray. Lily helped her father load folding tables into the back of an old pickup truck that belonged to the church. Daniel had signed up to help set up the food distribution event. He had no idea what to expect. He only knew that sitting at home waiting for a miracle wasn't working. The church parking lot buzzed with activity. Volunteers unpacked boxes of canned goods, bags of rice, bread, and produce donated by local stores. Daniel worked quietly lifting crates, arranging tables, stacking boxes. Lily stayed close, carrying small bags and offering shy smiles to strangers. As the hours passed, families began to line up. Single mothers, elderly men, couples with tired eyes and empty hands. Daniel recognized something in their faces. The same quiet fear he carried. Halfway through the morning, the pastor approached him. He was an older man with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Daniel, isn't it? He asked. Yes, sir. I heard about your situation. I'm glad you came. Daniel stiffened slightly. Pride was a hard thing to swallow. We just wanted to help, he replied. The pastor nodded thoughtfully. We actually need someone who knows construction. The church roof has been leaking for months. We haven't been able to afford proper repairs. Daniel looked up instinctively at the building's edge. The shingles were indeed warped and cracked. I used to work construction, Daniel said. Would you be willing to take a look? There it was. Not a miracle falling from the sky. An opportunity. I'd be honored, Daniel said. For the next 3 hours he climbed ladders, examined beams, and calculated materials in his head. It wouldn't be cheap, but it was manageable, and more importantly, it was something he knew how to do. By afternoon, the pastor had made a decision. We can't pay much, he admitted, but we can pay something, and if this goes well, I can recommend you to a few families in the congregation who need repairs done. Daniel felt something shift in his chest, not relief yet, not security. Hope. That evening as they walked home, Lily looked up at him. Are we still forgotten? She asked. Daniel squeezed her hand. What do you think? She smiled shyly. I think maybe God was just waiting for you to get up. He laughed softly. Maybe he was waiting for both of us. Over the next few weeks, Daniel worked harder than he had in years. He repaired the church roof carefully, refusing shortcuts. Word spread quickly. A widow needed her porch fixed. A young couple needed drywall repaired. A local shop owner needed shelves built. The jobs were small at first. Then they grew. It wasn't overnight success. It wasn't a lottery ticket or a mysterious envelope full of cash. It was steady. It was earned. One afternoon, Daniel came home carrying 2 grocery bags overflowing with food. Fresh vegetables, chicken, bread, even a small chocolate cake. Lily gasped as he set them on the counter. Is it someone's birthday? He smiled. No, it's just dinner. She ran her fingers over the cake box like it was treasure. Later that night, as they sat at the table eating a proper meal for the first time in weeks, Lily grew quiet. Daddy, she said carefully. He paused. It had been a while since she'd used that word. Yes. She looked at him with serious eyes. When I asked if God forgot us, were you scared? Daniel didn't rush his answer. Yes, he admitted, I was. Why? Because I didn't want you to lose hope, and I didn't want to lie to you either. She considered this. But you didn't just talk, she said. You did something. Daniel nodded slowly. Sometimes faith isn't about waiting for answers, he said. Sometimes it's about becoming one. Lily smiled. That night, after she fell asleep, Daniel stood in the doorway of her room for a long time. The house was still small, the bills weren't completely gone, life wasn't suddenly perfect. But something had changed. He no longer felt forgotten. Weeks later, Mrs. Harper knocked on their door. Daniel opened it, bracing himself. I heard from Pastor Williams, she said stiffly, about your new business. Daniel nodded cautiously. She hesitated before continuing. My nephew needs renovation work done on a rental property. It's a large project. Daniel felt his heart pound. And the rent? He asked quietly. She looked at him for a long moment. Consider it handled. Just do a good job. After she left, Daniel leaned against the door and exhaled. Lily ran into the hallway. What happened? He crouched down, smiling. Remember your question. Her eyes widened. Did God remember? Daniel shook his head gently. He never forgot. Lily wrapped her arms around his neck. Then why did it feel like he did? Daniel looked around their small home. The patched walls, the worn sofa, the little kitchen where hope had almost died. Because sometimes, he said softly, we only see what's missing, not what's possible. That night, as they prayed together, Lily didn't ask if they were forgotten. Instead, she said something new. Thank you for showing us what to do. Daniel closed his eyes. And for the first time in a long while, he wasn't asking for rescue. He was grateful for the strength to move.